Okay, part 5, slide work. These are not necessarily things that you're going to have to do on a Sunday, but they're just good skills to have in case you need to edit um, any timers or any spelling errors that you see or punctuation errors, things like that. We usually have most of those taken care of by Sunday. Josh does a really good job of going through and making sure everything is done correctly. But we're all human, and if you're looking at dozens of slides at a time, you're going to occasionally misspell a word or not put a comma where it's supposed to be. And so you're kind of as the ProPresenter on Sunday, you're kind of the final check of making sure everything is done correctly. So the first part here, enable and disable slides, we've already covered this, but it's always good to go over it again. So it's really simple. You can see here that these slides that are full color and black are going to play, but this one right here is grayed out. So slide 6, and his name is Jesus right here, is disabled. And for some reason, maybe that's, it looks like here they decided not to play the first verse again. So they did verse 1, chorus, and then verse 2 instead of doing verse 1, chorus, verse 1 again. So instead of having to delete the slides and redo them all, maybe, sometimes worship leaders say, well, we're not going to do this one. And then they decide, well, okay, maybe we will. So instead of having to do a whole bunch of editing, it's really easy to just enable and disable slides. So if you hit the arrow, it will skip all 3 of these disabled slides. If you click on it, it will show. So, say, they're, for some reason, they just keep playing. They go to the chorus, and maybe they forget, or they just are following the mood and the spirit, and they just go, okay, well, let's do verse 1 again. And that way you don't have to try to find where verse 1 is. It's right here. So you just click, and it's good to go. But if they go on, you can just hit the next arrow. So to enable or disable a slide, all you have to do is right-click on it and click Enable Slide. And that'll bring it black to full color. And if you want to disable it, same thing, right-click and disable. Next things are go to next timers. These are typically used in announcements. So let's say we want these announcements to just scroll through. So right now, if you click it, it'll stay on that announcement slide indefinitely until you go to the next slide. So a go to next timer is exactly that. It's a timer that counts down and then goes to the next slide. So let's add one to this baptism class slide. So we go right click, go to next timer, and let's say we want it for 3 seconds. Okay, so right here you'll see, it's kind of hard to see on this slide, but there's a little clock here, and then 3.0 ... So it's counting down 3 seconds, and it'll go to the next one. So if I click on this again, you'll see a little red clock show up here, and after 3 seconds, it'll go to this Family Fun event. But the Family Fun event, because it doesn't have a go to next timer on it, it will stay up there just like that until you click to the next slide. So let's say we want to do this for all of them, and we'll add timers to all of them. And we'll make them all 3 seconds, which is pretty quick. I'm just doing it for 3 seconds just because it's a demonstration. Normally they're 5 to 7. So we'll wait 3 seconds. Go to the next one. We'll wait 3 seconds. So that way, while people are coming in, you can just have the announcements scrolling. Or, whatever. If you need to add a timer for something, now you know how to add a timer. Okay, here's the problem, though. It went back to this black slide, so we're going to disable that. So right-click, disable slide. And we're actually going to, if we want this to be a scroller, just scrolling through these 4 slides, what we need to do is we need to have this loop back over to here. So on this last slide in our series, we're going to right-click, we're going to hit loop to first slide. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play that one. Now what it's going to do is it's going to loop to this first slide, which doesn't have a go to next timer. This is just kind of a kill all slide, so that when we're up here, you can go here and have a blank. So for now, we're going to disable this because let's say we're in, this is pre-service, so we're just going to go through the announcements. So it should go through all of this. Actually, I'll skip ahead a couple slides. We'll just go ahead and go to the last one so we don't have to wait. So after 3 seconds, it should jump back to the first enabled slide in this queue. And then it'll just keep circling all the way through that. Now, let's say they're in announcements. So somebody's on stage, they're making announcements, and they want to hold on these slides. So, hey, we're having baptism classes next weekend, blah, 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 whatever. But you see it's going to go to the next one. So to kill this go to next timer, you can just click this red clock over here. So see, if we want it to stay there, we just click the red clock, and it kills it. It just kills the timer. But once you click it again, that timer comes back. All right. So let's go ahead and put this back to where we had it, and let's disable all the go to next timer. So if you click and hold down Command, you can select multiple slides. We'll hit go to next timer. We're going to take it out. Hit OK. Whoops. That's not the right way to do it. Sorry. Click all of them and remove queue. And we're going to remove the go to next. Oh, wow. I have to do that for everyone. Well, that's kind of a pain. That's okay. So we'll do remove queue, go to next. And that just removes the go to next timer. We're going to re-enable this first slide by right-clicking and clicking enable. And there we go. Now we're back to our normal announcements. So they'll just click and they'll stay up there indefinitely because you don't see a red clock down here. And you also don't see stuff in the upper right-hand corner. Okay. So now we're down to quick edits. So let's say you have some kind of a text error. So I'm just going to make one really quick. Let's say they misspelled Jesus. And you're seeing that, so you're here, and before that slide comes up, you see it. Let's say, the worship leader is, let's all stand and worship, praise the name of Jesus, and you're like, oh, there's an error, and you just need to change it really quick. So what you do is select the slide. Don't left click on it, but right click, do quick edit. Click where there's an error, hit S, fix your error, and then click close that little window, and it just fixes the slide. If you need to do more in-depth editing, which you shouldn't have to do on Sundays, but just so that you have the skill. But if you don't have to do this, please don't, because you can potentially mess up the slides quite a bit. So, click in the song that you want to edit, and then hit editor. And you can change things like where the line separations are. So, maybe that makes more sense in the cadence of the song. Typically, Josh does a very good job of having this all the right size. It's all centered. It's all breaking at the right time. So you shouldn't have to do this. So I just want you to see it so that you know that tool is there. All right, the last thing that we're going to do is change the background color of one of these background loops that we have going. So this is a loop that's about 30 seconds long, and it's purple. But let's say we really like this background. We like the little star things kind of scrolling by, right? We like that it's got a nice little soft purple background here. But let's say we really want it to be, I don't know, light blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Video Image Bin, and we're going to find that background slide. This is probably the most tedious part of this. I do know that it's purple. Maybe if I search purple, I can find it. Soft purple snow. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. So what we're going to do, we don't want to edit this original one. We want to create a copy of it. And I want to have a place to where all the copies of the edited backgrounds are in a different folder. So notice I've made this edited backgrounds folder in the video image bin. So what we do is we're going to drag this over to edited backgrounds. Notice the original stayed in here, so this is still good. So let's go to our edited backgrounds. There we go. Okay. And soft purple snow is there. So now what we can do is right click, media properties. And this is going to allow us to change a lot of things. We could change the name of it. We could change all kinds of different things. The one you need to know for colors is this third bar right here. It looks like faders, and you can have all kinds of different effects that it will throw in there for you. So gray invert, heat signature, all kinds of stuff. So we're not going to do any effects. What we want to do is we want to change the hue. So the hue will allow us to change the color. So let's see if we can find a light blue. So that's blue-ish. We don't want to go into green. Bring the saturation and the brightness up. And now that's a light blue. Okay, so you can play with that. Let's say you don't like it, just reset, and it changes it all. So we'll do that. Saturation up, brightness a little bit, and contrast. That's not as quite as light of a blue as we had. There we go. Okay, so we can close this, and now this shows up as a different color. So now we've got praise the name of Jesus in blue, but it's not added here. So what we'll do, again, to change the background, what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on this title slide, click copy, click on it again, right-click on it again, and click paste. That creates a copy of it here, and we'll change the background of that one by just dragging it over, and we're going to disable this first one. So now you've got praise the name of Jesus with a blue background, and it's all good. So in the next video, we're going to talk about camera work. This is something new, something that I'm adding in, and it's not a huge responsibility at this point, but it's going to be something that I want you to try to keep an eye on while you're here. If you're overwhelmed with just doing the slides, don't worry about the camera work. It's not a big deal yet for a creative service, but we do want to make sure that we have at least a shot of the stage, and to make sure that the camera is not pointing up at the ceiling or something. And since you're sitting right behind the camera, it's easiest for you to just grab the little handle and position the camera where it needs to be. So we'll have another video about that coming up soon, but that one's going to require some extra camera work so that I can show you, because it's not just recording the screen. So same thing with the video switching. Don't stress out about these two very much, because that's getting into the weeds. And I'll have to create a second video and another video for that. Notice we have orange tiles, so let's click Command S. Oh, not over there. Click in ProPresenter, Command S, and they're all saved.